Ni means he or she is alive, living. Ini. It's a source. E is the source that gives life. When a person goes in the lodge and pours water, the steam and the heat, the energy from the stones bring life to that person. So that's what ini, when one person does that. When a group is doing it, they say inipi. They are doing this. So when he took the stones in and poured water, those bundles began to move. Inipi means they're coming back to life. Physically and spiritually. When we stray from the philosophy, when we are lost, when we have a lot of things bothering us, we go into a sweat lodge. We ask those stones and the water to help us pull ourselves together. It's a physical cleansing. And as we go through that physical cleansing, we share stories, needs, our experience. We sing songs as a way of cleansing our mind. So when we finish, everything that's negative in us is given to the stones in the middle. And you come out fully refreshed. They said it's like going back into your mother's womb and you come out innocent. That's what inipi does to you. You cleanse yourself. You go to those things enough times. You go to those inipi enough times, eventually you're going to find out who you are. That doesn't mean you're going to find out what your name is and who your family are, but who are you? What are you like? You're going to find your strengths and your weaknesses in there. And you're going to use them to address yourself. You start taking care of yourself. And again, that's working with relatives. The water, the stone people, the wood nation, the fire. When we first started back to the ceremonies, that's one thing we brought back was the sweat ceremonies. So whatever we have is a relative. Those 3 first sessions we had supposedly supposed to lead you to that concept that we are related. When you go outside, when that air hits you, say thank you, because that's the relative, the wind touching you. And you don't worship them, but you work with them as a relative. It's an interesting philosophy. Those of us that grew up as Catholics, Episcopals, we struggle with that. We had to convince ourselves this is true. This is right. Because we grew up with a different belief system. And it's a struggle to all of a sudden switch. So Inipi is a description of the sweat lodge. It's probably one of the most important ceremonies that we have. We do it as often as we can. When you Sundance, first thing in the morning, before sunrise, you go in that sweat lodge with 7 relatives. You cleanse yourself. You prepare yourself to get into that Sundance ground every morning. At the end of the dance, you go back in that lodge, take 7 more stones, you cleanse yourself again. Between those 2 sweats, you shouldn't touch other dancers, talk to other dancers, because they're focusing on why they're dancing. It's really hard to condition yourself to that. We're still learning how to do that. If you're going to fast on a hill, you must have a reason to do that. Sometimes you might take a loved one to a ceremony conducted by a medicine man. When his spirit friends come in, you tell them, you heal my loved one. Next year, I will do the Hambalecha. I will fast on the hill. You have a year to prepare for that. Once in a while you skip meals, just so you're used to it. You learn to concentrate. You learn to stay focused. You learn songs to bring you back to focus. When I time comes, you approach a medicine man, offer him a pipe. By then you should know if you could fast for a whole day, 2 days, 3 days. The most people have done is 4 days. But most of them will do it at least 2 days, 2 nights. That's a long time. He'll put you on that hill for the reason why you came. And that's what you stay focused on while you're on that hill. You come to give thanks. And sometimes your mind wanders about home. You start thinking about food, you know, and water. Get thirsty. You sing those songs to bring you back to focus. Hambalecha is a 4-year commitment. You have to do it for 4 summers. And each year, you're going to understand it a little more. 4th year, you're going to fully understand why you're doing it. Usually about the 2nd day, your senses really sharpen up. You can hear things around you that you never hear. If you're in here for 2 or 3 days, about the 2nd day, you're going to hear every sound in this room. There are sounds coming from that monitor, things like that we just pretty much ignore. Every little thing you're going to hear. Your hearing really sharpens up. Your sense of smell is unbelievable. You could smell the air. They usually put you on a ridge where you overlook the river, down there about a mile, 2 miles away. You can smell that water. You know? And it really smells good. And I always tell people the hardest thing is you can smell cooking about a mile away. You know? But it's a wonderful way to connect to creation. Because you're alone. You're all by yourself. But this vision quest, as Hambalecha, we do as ordinary people, it's our decision to do it. And we don't do it because of a vision. We do it because we have a purpose, we have a reason to do it. So Inipi and Hambalecha, those two are really important in following our philosophy. Hambalecha is a time of quiet time where you put yourself alone and really go in depth. The other ceremony that we do today to kind of connect those with the other two is the Sundance. Sundance is another ceremony that you must have a good reason to do it. Because that's what's going to carry you through, that reason. You stay focused on that. We had Sundancers who want to pull buffalo skulls. And I designate an area in our Sundance, outside, out in the open, out in the prairie. You pull a buffalo skull to ask for forgiveness. It's not part of Sundance. So when people want to pull buffalo skulls, I tell them, did you bring your skulls? Do you have a reason? Do you know who you want to forgive you? I said, explain to the people why you're doing this so they can pray for you. When you pull those skulls out there in the prairies, when you break free, the people that you want to forgive you, if they're going to forgive you, they'll stand there and wait for you. After you break, if they're not there, that means they didn't forgive you. That's the reason for pulling buffalo skulls. It's not part of Sundance. But these are things that we have that if you do it right, it helps you. It helps you grow. It helps you understand. Most importantly, it helps you to take care of yourself. In Lakota philosophy, they always say the worst thing that you could do is take somebody's time because you're not prepared. That's embarrassing. As long as you can move around, you should take care of yourself and not take somebody's time. Because they said the greatest gift you can give is time from your life. You have your career, you have your goals, and yet sometimes you put that aside and take that time to help a friend, a relative, or somebody. They said that's the greatest gift you can give.